Hi, everyone. I'm Denise O'Malley, the founder of You Define Wellness, and welcome to another episode of the Defining Wellness Confab. We've had a theme going on during this confab, and you can call it a summit, you can call it a forum. I just like the word confab. But we've had a theme going on, and that is to become the director of your own healthcare. And when you're setting out and pursuing other options that are not included perhaps in your medical insurance, you don't always know where to go. And so the purpose of this confab is for me to introduce you to 52 of the best health and wellness professionals out there. And I'm delighted tonight to have a couple that I am bringing to it. And they've been so supportive of us, and I love the work that they're doing. And so we have Jim Sharon and his beautiful wife, bride, I'm going to say, Ruth Sharon, and they have a presentation for us tonight on Give Your Love Life Some Love. And at that, I am going to turn it over to you two, and it is all yours.
Thank you so much. So give your love life some love.
Good idea.
Good idea. So we talk about how we need to build a strong foundation under us. And it's much like a house, we have to have a strong foundation under our personal self and our collective self and our family. And so we even call it the mansion of love. That's the kind of house we're building. And, when we think about love, we've been coaching people and counseling couples for decades and decades. And we noticed this pattern that people have this barter system with love. I'll love you if you love me. I'll do this for you if you do that for me. And that really doesn't feel like the true essence of love.
Makes it a commodity.
Makes it a commodity. It's like a solid thing. Like, oh, I've given my heart to you. Don't hurt my heart. There's just so much unfulfilled love in that way. So we think of it as energy, that love is energy. It's an energy I can breathe in. I can breathe in more love. I can align with love. I can attune to love. I can focus on that feeling and deepen my heart of love. Maybe it's the love of sunshine. It's the love of a child. It's the love of a delicious meal. It's the love of my husband. It's all love. It's the fabric of the universe. To me, it's the foundation. And it's a field of energy. So we can feel it, like when clients come into my office or when we're talking to them on the phone, they can just feel that, I feel loved. So that's what we're about. We want to bring about more love. And we also talk about that we're separate sometimes, right? He's his own person, I'm my own person, and yet we dance together and we unify as one, and then we dance apart and we're two, the dance of the one and the two. And just to make that dance as graceful as we can. So we just celebrated 49 years of marriage.
Still hard to believe.
Next year's 50. Yeah, so and we've worked together for 43 of those years.
So here's what I got to say about her.
Okay.
Ruthless. I call her ruthless sometimes because she is. We all want to love, and we all want to be loved. That's pretty much of a given. It's a universal. And so what goes awry in that? How does that go astray? So I think there's two primary kind of obstacles. One is, just like we've all, want to love and be loved, we've also all been wounded to some extent or another. Just in some way we have. And for a lot of us, it's a major trauma that we've encountered, several traumas. So that's one thing that certainly gets in the way of that love.
Protection.
Oh, yes. And speaking of protection, that really leads into the second part as well. So these two go hand in glove. And that is that nasty little three-letter word, and it's not the word sex, but it is ego. E-G-O, ego. So the desire to, like Ruth said, we want to be separate a lot. So we're going to control, that protects us, try to win, try to be right. We're not going to go into detail on this. It's beyond the scope of this presentation, but those are some of the mechanisms that we use to block that love, to be a barrier. So what's up for us to have to do, what's really required, is to, and this is the tough part, be on an ongoing basis dedicated to our own self-care, to our own healing and our own self-development on an ongoing basis. And also to be able to dedicate ourselves or devote ourselves to our partner's overall well-being. So those two things.
Really look out for each other.
Yeah, what a concept.
So we're here to share the good news. That's basically what our mission in life is to let people know that we can move through these stages of woundedness, these stages of disconnection, these stages of codependency, entanglement, and projecting, and all those dysfunctional
So
things.
what do you do if that's
So
going
then
on?
what's on the other side of that, right? So we like to kind of narrate the path of what's beyond that. So tonight we thought we'd talk about some tips of what do you do when you've noticed that you're disconnected? Like, I don't feel connected to you anymore. And so what am I going to do to connect with you? So I noticed that when my head starts judging, and I call it the crumbs under the toaster phenomena. If you cleaned up the kitchen, but I look under the toaster, oh, there's crumbs, So if I don't even have a toaster now, that's an old story. But, if I'm starting to be critical to you, I just noticed that that's my cue. I don't feel connected. I haven't felt like we've been enjoying time together. So I'll initiate. Hey, Jim, let's hang out. You want to play a game? You want to talk? You want to go for a walk? You want to have a date? Let's do something.
So some of those things depend on our love language, right? For some people who are very physically oriented, they're going to want, let's say, a massage or sex, or in some cases, just initiate putting your hand on my shoulder, giving me a hug. So depending on your style of loving.
Right. So, we're just asking you to pay attention to when you're in that fight, flight, freeze, faint. We know that there's many dimensions to that stress reaction. When we're in that dominant hijack of our nervous system, it's very hard to connect with anybody, let alone ourselves. So how do we calm ourselves down?
What's a girl to do?
What's a girl to do? So if I'm in fight, I might just cool off. Wait a minute, I just really got triggered. You just hit my hot button. We've been working on wrong button, hitting that wrong button. You did it wrong.
Criticism, blame, judgment.
Right, that'll keep us apart. So if I feel like I'm getting triggered, I'll step back, go take a walk, go lay down, do some yoga, breathe, do something to calm myself down, and then come to you and go, wow, my button was just pushed. That was powerful.
Often that requires a request for a timeout. And that timeout can be very brief. It can be seconds, it can be minutes, usually a matter of minutes.
Well, until you calm down, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we feel disconnected, we'll take some time out and calm down. Yeah. I was working with a guy today, and he's a new client, and he's so nervous to talk to his wife about, I don't feel connected to you. So we had to role play it. They've been married for 26 years, and he's scared to talk to her, so we had to plan it. So it takes some courage, it takes some planning, it takes some preparation. And what do I want to say? What are my main points? We attached it to his fingers, what he wanted to say to her, and he was going to invite her for a walk tonight, and just tell her his points of how he wanted to connect.
And it's not just, and that's the expressive part of it. Then there's this whole other thing. I like the expression that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and let's use them in proper proportion. So the listening. So some of what we're going to say are reminders. For some of you people, you realize, well, you've already heard these things, but they're very important reminders. So active listening, where we reflect, right, with one another. What is that person? What are you feeling? What are you needing or requesting from me? And then there's some of the niceties. Should we get into some of the niceties, or is that moving a little too fast on the next part?
Well, let's wait for a second. Yeah.
You got it.
Well, people have so many different styles of how they feel distant from each other. Some people snipe at each other. So, when there's sarcasm, when there's sniping, if we take the bait of it and start fighting, we're certainly not going to get closer. So it's like learning how to stop taking the bait, stop getting hooked into those triggers.
Not taking it so personally.
Not taking it so personally. So, if I'm not connected to you, I might give you the cold shoulder. I might just ignore you. I might not talk to you for a while until I can calm down and come get you. Yeah.
So you're talking a lot about your own ways of calming down, right?
Yeah,
I think it's important to look at
Yeah.
how couples can relate to each other that way too.
Uh-huh.
So we can calm each other down, and we can be constructive rather than destructive or derailing our communication.
Right. Well, I think that brings us to the whole point of being vulnerable together. You know, we want that vulnerability, we want that openness, we want that tenderness, we want that healing, we want that
Vital.
joy and vitality and connection, and yet we're terrified of it. Most people are terrified to be vulnerable. That's like a bad thing, you know, to be vulnerable means
Just the antithesis of the protection we talked about.
Yeah, but it really is the gateway to being intimate.
And it ain't weakness, is it?
No, it's a strength to be vulnerable. So that's what we're talking about, that if I feel disconnected, to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm feeling disconnected. Let's find a way to connect and find each other. So then the second part that we wanted to go into, drum roll, is if we do feel connected, how can we deepen that, and how can we expand that love? How can it be even greater?
I think it starts a lot of times with affirming what we appreciate about the other and letting them know that. Some of it is in the terms of just common values and beliefs, and then also agreeing to disagree. We can do that as well. But expressing gratitude, it's giving compliments that are sincere and genuine in the moment.
It feels so good.
Yeah, not a contrivance.
Yeah. When I work with clients, I hear so much of, I really appreciate that you did that, but, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's cut the butt off of there and say that sentence again and let the person receive it.
There you go.
You know, because I can give you a compliment and then but and take it away.
Absolutely undo it.
Undo it. Yeah.
It's like a left-handed compliment at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So being able to affirm each other, and, you know, if we're in a grouchy mood, we're not very affirming. So we have to be in those kind of open, light, attentive, calm places to really notice, like, wow, you did such a great job on the lawn. Thank you so much.
And you know what else is really nice? Speaking of affirmations and things, I'm thinking of a couple of things, actually. One is to show curiosity to your partner beyond, how was your day, dear? You know, those common ones.
That's what we're working on.
Yeah, that's right.
To peel back the story a little bit more. Tell me some more. What was that like for you? What else happened?
Open-ended questions about things at different areas of the person's life. And how about the everyday niceties? And I like your expression of sex begins at breakfast. That's something that Ruth has said.
Foreplay begins at breakfast.
Foreplay begins at breakfast. Okay, that's good.
So you want to say some more about that?
Well, just the the very basic, sweet, nice touches. It could be as simple as a hug, surprising the person by doing a chore that you usually don't do, like making the bed, making coffee for the person, putting up a little love note, you know, around the house to surprise them. It can be those little touches that make all the difference.
Yeah, and that's not just a strategy to get into bed. That's
correct.
Just being lovers together, remembering that. I mean, you know, 49 years, we forget sometimes that romantic side of life, you know. We go on vacation and we have the romance, but to have the romance day to day, you know, in our house, it takes dates. We have to date. We have to go out on dates.
Or inside the house and have a date.
Yeah, have dates to play games or explore. We've been doing dates to plan vacations. That's always fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I love when we get dressed up and we go on the train and we go downtown. We saw a Michael Bublé concert and, you know, just have a date, dance and feel pretty and feel handsome.
Yeah,
and
to surprise each other sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
too.
we love to do that, blindfold each
Take
other.
turns surprising each other. And that doesn't even have to be orchestrated. It can just be spontaneous.
I love that time you blindfolded me and took me over to the Denver Tech Center. And there was a marquee, forgot what it's called, but it was like a chessboard, and it had statues on it, and it had little picnic tables built in, like metal picnic tables. And he brought a basket and had a whole meal for me there on that table. That
and you blindfolded me and dressed me up and took me to a masquerade thing. I had no idea what was going on. 60 miles out of town. So, anyway, but it's important, I think, to do that at least on a weekly basis. You know, it doesn't have to be the same day. But just to have that be conscious and have that be something that both couples attend to, make sure there's a regularity to their getting together.
Yeah, making sure we stay in touch. When we got married, I remember saying, Oh, and let's make sure we connect every single day. Let's touch base, check in with each other. And we've been fairly good at that. There
Fairly
have been
good.
days where we'll go to bed and go, oh, I didn't even connect with them
I mean, we're
today.
not perfect. We don't have this totally down.
No. So looking at when we're disconnected and how to bring ourselves back together, noticing when we are connected and how to make that even juicier. That's really what we want to share. And so we'd love to just let people know how they can reach us. Are we ready for that?
Not quite.
Not
No,
quite?
no.
Do you want to talk some more?
I got some more to say.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, one thing, I'm thinking a few things.
Okay.
Something about listening, since I said that was important. We do need to make sure that you have a listener. If your mate is watching TV, busy working, reading a book, may not be the best time to hit that person with a very major point that you want to make or a concern that you have. So you have to really request respectfully with consideration. Can you listen to me right now? And not everything is a priority, right? So if it is a priority, then of course you'd have to let that be known. And while I'm grabbing the floor,
Grab on.
I wanted to say something about a little bit of research on longevity, just a couple things about that that's relevant here. There were two there's two expert marriage counseling psychologists from the University of Denver. I won't get into specifics, names and all that stuff, but research that was done back in the early 90s. And what these guys found is that there was a main ingredient, let's put it that way, of relationship success and longevity was the couple's ability to get on the same page, basically, reconcile together their approaches to conflict resolution. And if they could agree on that and do that in a compatible way, their relationship would last a long time.
Yeah.
And on the same note about longevity, there's a lot of research out there that shows that when a couple is relatively happy, that strongly correlates with lifespan. They're going to live a long life. There's a strong correlation about that. No guarantees.
Right.
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, in our 70s. It's amazing.
So you wanted to bring some things to a close here.
Yeah, well, I also just wanted to say about the conflict resolution real quick, because that's an area of expertise that I really share, is that, if people don't know how to have a disagreement, have an argument, fair fighting, they're going to get into their ugliness and get into the claws and the meanness and stuff like that. So that's one of the things we do all the time, is teach people skills. It's all about skills, being able to develop a tool and, I can use that tool here and that tool here.
Skills and intention.
Yes, and intention. Yeah. But just simple things like find out what you're fighting about. What is that conflict and how do I solve that particular one? And how do I do it in a way that brings us closer?
So we have a couple of minutes.
Okay, so we have tagged ourselves Soulful Couples, and so our website is soulfulcouples.com. So if you want to read more, see more, listen to more, we have podcasts, blogs, videos, all kinds of information and events. We have an upcoming event, August 10th. We're doing a one-day retreat right here in our home. We've done retreats for couples for decades. And so this one is called Give Your Love Life Some Love, isn't it?
Yes.
No, it's called Growing in Love.
Oh, Growing in Love,
That's what
that's
it's called,
right.
Growing in Love.
That's right.
And so August 10th, if anybody wants to join us, we'll be glad to give you more information. It's a Saturday, and it's a lot of privacy. We pose questions, and you, as couple, have dialogues. We're teaching you how to have good conversations and develop skills. So that's one thing we wanted to tell you. And then we also have a Facebook community page now where we can dialogue about things. We'll post this video up, and people can be able to be in communication with other couples who are on this path of soulfulness and being able to have healthy relationships.
Mature relationships, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a little prayer before Jim shows us our book. And right?
Oh yeah, I wanted to read a quote. You know what? I'm going to make an executive decision. Let's dispense with a prayer, and I want to read these quotes.
Okay,
So I think
go
they're
for it.
powerful.
So we wrote
Just so
this
we honor
book.
our time.
We wrote this book called The Secrets of a Soulful Marriage. And we wrote this a number of years ago, and we have about 22 couples in there sharing their stories as well.
And lots of quotes and tips and so forth. So here's a couple things from near the end of the book that I think are potent. Imagine that you and your sweetheart reside in an elegant, spacious mansion on a large estate. You emanate the splendor of a king to a queen and a queen. Your future is bright and hopeful. Your spirits soar as you picture all that is possible in the years to come. And on the next page, you and your beloved can serve as tour guides for each other at your expansive mansion of love that will continue your exciting adventure together well into the future. You can open doorways into aspects of yourself and aspects of your life together as a soulful couple that you might not realize exist. The map of the palace is tucked in the secret chambers of your heart. Discover the keys, venture into the hidden areas, unlock the doors, and luxuriate in the rooms of your soul. What a delightful treasure hunt. So thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I feel like I've just gotten to eavesdrop in on you guys in your home, and because this is who you really are, is what you shared here today. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So, a couple of things. Where can somebody buy your book?
On our website and on Amazon. So www.soulfulcouples.com, and on Amazon we have a page there with our book.
Do you know I've given your book as a gift to couples when they have come together?
Oh,
Thank you so very much.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like, you guys got to read this from a couple who have been together for a very long time. And I think next year we're going to have a heck of a party on your 50th, aren't we?
Woohoo!
Thank you for throwing that party for us.
Yes, we are talking about making it an Audible book too. We're going to work on that.
Oh, I think that would be a terrific idea. And you talked about your retreats, but how do people work with you? Can they work with you from anywhere in the United States using technology, or do they have to come to your home?
Yeah, coaching. Yes, we use Zoom or Skype or telephone.
Okay. So you can
face if they're local.
You can work with anyone, anywhere in the world.
Anywhere, yeah. And we can work with just one of the couple or both of the couple, and we can work singly or together. You know, we have different pay points that we can use. Yeah. How people want to do it.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, this is where I get to move into my little portion and talk to the audience of this about Udefine Wellness. And Jim and Ruth are providers in our network. And let me explain to you what the network is. Udefine Wellness is a network of health and wellness professionals from across the United States. We literally have hundreds in our network. And these are people who probably are not part of your medical insurance plan. And there are a lot of provider directories on the internet. You can search, there's Yelp is a type of a provider directory, and you can search those and find names. But what makes us different than anybody else out there is that we vet our providers. We do a criminal background investigation. We're looking at their licenses to see if there's any disciplinary actions against them. We're checking to make sure they're a legal business. We're looking at their reputation. And so while it shouldn't be your only gauge as to whether or not someone is that you want to work with, it certainly will help you in your decision-making process to know that somebody has actually looked at them as well. So to keep that in mind when you're thinking about our provider network, and you can use it whether you are a client of ours or not. It is open to the public to go find a health and wellness professional. But one of the things we can do with this network is create products. One product, our flagship product, is an employee benefit plan so that employees of companies can receive employer-subsidized access to people like Jim and Ruth, or massage or chiropractic or acupuncture, and there's 130 some odd modalities in it. We are also able to put together a speakers catalog. So if you're looking for speakers for health and wellness subjects, whether it be a lunch and learn at the office or a group that you're doing, or maybe a retreat that you're putting together, or even a community group or a school, we have speakers that can talk about health and wellness, and you don't have to go hunt people down. We've already got them for you. Some great programs are in that catalog. And last, we have a product that we just came out with, and we're launching it with the Defining Wellness Confab. It's called the Healthy Living Savings Card. And what it is it allows the bearer of this card to receive discounts on a variety of health and wellness services from providers in our network who accept the card. So we already have those discounts in place for you. And we do sell the card. It is a one fee. It never expires. We never charge you again for it. And you can use it as many times in a month as you want. You can share it with your family members. You can share it with your friends. You can share it with your next door neighbors, your coworkers. Whoever is holding that card and presents it when they go to an appointment can receive the discount. So it's great for individuals, retirees, and self-employed. It's a one-time fee of $99, but through the end of this month, we're doing it at half price at $49.50. And remember, it never expires. So it's not a membership that you have to pay every single year. And you can learn more at udefinewellness.com. While you're at our website, I want to tell you about something that we're launching. Our providers in our network are passionate about giving back to the community. And so with their input, we are putting together we're spinning this off from our company. It'll be a nonprofit, and it's called the Holistic Healing Workplace Crisis Support Team, so that we can go into the workplace and help after something has happened. You know, they say to bring in the counselors and the psychotherapists, but it's not always enough, because trauma will reside in the body. And if left untended, it will crop up down the road weeks, months, years later. And so we can bring in a team of professionals to work with the employees to help them determine what path they need to take or want to take as they're moving out of the crisis and trauma that has taken place. It's been long in need, and we did a video about it just this morning, and so check our YouTube channel for more information on that video. And if you are inclined to help support the formation of this workplace crisis support team, we welcome donations, and just send it to paypal.me/udefinewellness. And with that being said, the most important information is, how do you get in touch with Ruth and Jim? So I am showing you their phone number and their website, and there's a lot of great content on their website. So definitely go over and check that out. And with that being said, if you didn't write down fast enough, hey, there's this rewind button. Just go back. You'll find it. That's no problem. That being said, you guys, thank you for doing this.
It was nice seeing your face during the presentation.
Oh, good, because I was having a lot of fun with it.
You were very affirming.
Good. It was a lot of fun for me, and you two are so special, and what you give to the world constantly. And you're not just preaching; you're walking the walk.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, and it's
your Facebook comment today too.
I don't remember what it was, but I'm glad.
One of the something couples you ever met, nice, sweetest, most handsome.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly what I put. I'm sure it was. But one of the things is you really are the embodiment of what your work is all about. And so those who are looking to grow in their relationships, if you need to fix your relationship, you think you need to fix it, they're good people to talk to. I'm talking about just even growing in your relationship and deepening those. Yeah, you guys are, you want to work with someone who knows what that path looks like, and they do it. They really do the things that they talked about. I am going to show this video to my husband. So that we can actually be talking about some of the principles that you talked about, the tips. I'm really interested in that date night.
Huge.
And it is, and especially where we are in our lives, we're in the process of becoming empty nesters. And that's a period of time where you really start looking at your spouse and thinking, who are you?
Yeah.
And so it's a good time to just re-solidify that
One of the
relationship.
transition groups that we work with a lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you again to
Awesome.
you.
Well, thank
And
you.
thank you to everybody who's watching this video. We really appreciate you supporting us and checking out our YouTube channel and seeing all the other content that we have out there.